Do you ever dream of escaping to an English cottage garden overflowing with flowers and charm? Well, me too. So today we'll be transforming this very ordinary patio in the Midwest into a haven inspired by those quaint English gardens. And of course, we'll do it on a budget using our DIY skills and lots of interesting thrift store finds. So if you're ready to bring some English charm to your outdoor space, grab a cup of tea and let's get cracking. Because we have a large carpet under the gazebo, I won't be power washing the patio. I'm going to have to clean it the old-fashioned way. First, I swept up the paved areas with a broom, and then I vacuumed the carpet with a wet dry vac. You can buy an outdoor carpet like this, cut to size, very inexpensively at home improvement stores. Today, Edgar is enjoying the sunny day, and poor Zoe is feeling left out. Although I love wicker furniture, I find it's just not practical for Illinois weather. So all of my patio furniture is either iron or aluminum, and it was almost all purchased at thrift stores, including these chairs. I love how they stack together for convenient storage, and I can easily update them with a coat of spray paint. I also thrifted this coffee table / fire pit, which actually consists of two different fire pits that I Frankensteined together. To create a cozy, secret garden-like space, you need plants and lots of them. English gardens contain primarily perennials and old-fashioned flowers like roses and lavender. Unfortunately, only one of last year's potted perennials survived, and I don't even know what it is. Before adding plants, I like to plan which containers to group together and where to place them. And I like to use containers of different sizes. Then I like to add a variety of plants to each pot. This nook is my favorite spot on the patio, where I place my vintage wrought iron planters next to an old iron chair. I also love to add new thrift store finds to the patio each year. I thought this black wire basket would look cute with a cocoa liner on the black bench. If you'd like to see how I made this bench, I'll link that video in the description box. I also thrifted this pretty handled basket, which I'm going to move off the rug because these cocoa liners drip a lot if you don't add some kind of additional liner inside. I thought this toile pot was perfect for the patio because I plan on using a number of blue and yellow accents this year. I filled it with hens and chicks, even though I always overwater or underwater succulents. So if you have any tips, please share them. I couldn't believe my luck when I saw this plant stand at Goodwill for under $5. It's the perfect spot for my herb pots. I also like to rummage through my extra home decor to see if there's something I can use outdoors. This metal topiary was once on my fireplace mantle. Hopefully this ivy plant will grow up and around the metal orbs. I use a lot of ivy because it's both pretty and cheap. Also, to save money, I separate hostas in my front yard to help fill in my patio pots.
Working outdoors is hard work. And honestly, sometimes I can really start dragging in the afternoon. But let's face it, as we age, our energy levels can decline. That's why it's even more important that we take care of ourselves. And one of the things that I'm doing is taking a multivitamin every day. And I take Rituals Essential for Women 50 plus because it is specifically formulated to fill common nutritional gaps and to promote healthy aging.
Ritual uses high-quality, scientifically backed nutrients that support brain health, bone health, blood building, and antioxidant support. And here's a really important part. They're all in bioavailable forms, which means your body actually absorbs them. And if you'd like to give Ritual Vitamins a try, right now they're offering 25% off your first month.
Just scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description box. And if you don't absolutely love your Ritual Vitamins after 30 days, they'll refund your money, no questions asked.
Every year, I like to create a different water fountain. This year, I'm going to make it using this metal beverage tub and stand that I thrifted for just $5. I added a Dollar Tree plastic pot inside. I chose one that was about 3 to 4 inches shorter than the metal tub. Then I added my electric water pump with the cord going out over the edge of the metal tub. A pump like this cost less than $20 on Amazon. Next, I took a splatter screen from Dollar Tree and removed the center handle. I used a screwdriver to stretch out the screw hole in the screen so that I could slide it over the pump nozzle. Since this screen was flimsy, I doubled it up and added a second screen directly over the first one. I placed a few large rocks on each side of the screen to weight it down and hold it in place. Then I began filling the tub with rocks, using cheap gravel-like rocks along the bottom and prettier, larger river rocks on the top. Once the tub was filled with rocks, I poured water into the plastic Dollar Tree pot, completely covering the pump. As an afterthought, I removed some of the rocks in one spot and added in some dirt in between the two pots. Then I added in an ivy plant and carefully covered it back up with rocks. I hadn't even checked to make sure that the fountain worked, but it did. In fact, it worked a little too well. I needed to change out the nozzle cap to create just a small gurgle. To add some interest, I added a blue and white thrift store vase. I turned it on its side and added an English ivy plant inside so that the ivy would spill out over the rocks. For a second water feature, I placed a terracotta saucer on top of a large candle stand and then added a solar water fountain to the water. I also like to change up my bird feeder every year. This year, I want to try using this basket trellis combo. I bought a plastic bowl at Dollar Tree to put inside the basket, but I needed to cut out a large hole in the bottom so it could slide over the trellis. I tried burning some holes in the bowl with my glue gun, but that was taking way too long. So I just used a pair of scissors to crack the hard plastic and cut out the hole. I cut slits in the center of a cocoa liner and slid that on the trellis first. Then I added my plastic bowl, and finally I cut a hole from the center of a Cool Whip bowl and slid that on top. Next, I added a small plant and some additional dirt to the Cool Whip bowl. Then I filled in between the two bowls with birdseed. Finally, I added an old thrift store grapevine wreath over the top to give the birds a place to perch. I used some landscaping pins to secure it in place. I sure hope the birds like it and the squirrels stay away. This year, I bought a pretty wind chime with gold bells from Hobby Lobby, on sale for under $9. To dress it up, I turned an old planter basket upside down and ran the hanging hook through the hole in the bottom and hung it on the edge of the gazebo. I thought it might get enough sun in this spot for a solar light, so I popped off the stake and sat the light bulb in the hole in the center of the basket. You know that I always need to add decor to empty wall space, and that's true outside too. I recently thrifted this large plastic framed clock and wondered if I couldn't use it outdoors. But first, I needed to take it apart. I removed the battery and all of the tiny screws holding the clock together. Then I removed the inner plastic rim and the piece of glass. I set the glass aside because I wouldn't be reusing it. Some time ago, I thrifted 2 cocoa liners for window boxes, and now I finally had a use for one of them. I arranged the plastic inner ring over the liner so that the liner covered half of the circle. Then I used heavy-duty scissors to cut out that half-circle shape. Then I arranged the cocoa liner over the bottom half of the clock face and hot glued the edges to the inner portion of the frame. This is where the plastic ring attaches. I used Gorilla hot glue sticks, which hold up well even in hot weather. Then I replaced the plastic ring. To screw it back in place, I used larger screws than the ones I had removed, especially in those spots where the screw had to go through the cocoa liner. To add a small planter inside the cocoa liner, I took an aluminum Dollar Tree planter and flattened it out some with a mallet. It fit perfectly. I added a couple vinca vines to the pot. Vinca is cheap and nearly impossible to kill. I imagine it will grow down the wall in just a few weeks. This branch art is an old DIY project that I left out all winter. Unfortunately, the solar lights aren't working and some of the wood slices are gone. To switch it up, I took the birdhouses off of another old DIY project. I glued a small wood block on the back of each house so I could glue them to the spots that were missing wood slices. However, they didn't want to attach with hot glue. So instead, I hot glued on some wood biscuits arranged to look like leaves. But I still wanted to add the birdhouses. So I knocked off the small wood blocks I had just added and drilled 2 holes on the back side of each birdhouse instead. I ran some florist wire through the 2 holes and then twisted the wire around the branch. Then I could add the houses wherever I wanted. If you want to enjoy your outdoor space after dark, you'll want to consider adding ambient light sources. I use solar lights all around the patio, especially in and among the flower pots. I'm especially fond of the look of these starburst solar lights that I bought from Amazon a few years ago. You can also stick the top portion of a solar light into an old lamp base for a unique light, or create floating lights among the trees by wrapping a strand of miniature solar lights around an old grapevine wreath and hanging it from a branch. Just be sure to clip the solar panel on an outside branch that is sure to get plenty of sun. I didn't need to buy any furniture or other expensive items for the patio this year, so I decided to splurge on a new rug. Everything was so gray and black, and I really wanted to add some color, so I chose this mostly blue rug from Sam's Club. It looks and feels like an indoor rug, which I really like. Next, I hung my outdoor curtains on the rods attached to the gazebo. Although I don't like the appearance of tab-top drapery, I'm so glad that's what I chose because it makes putting these curtains up and taking them down so much easier. To keep the curtains from blowing around, I tied them back with some navy and white striped ribbon from Walmart. I'm trying to add in touches of blue wherever I can. Last year, I replaced the chair cushions because the fabric on the old ones was getting brittle and ripping. However, the old ones had much better stuffing. So I took some stuffing from the old cushions and added it to the new ones to fill them out and make them firmer. Just like indoors, I like to add several throw pillows and blankets on the patio furniture. They really make the space look and feel so much cozier. To add some color to these gray cushions, I ordered some inexpensive pillow covers from Amazon. These blue woven ones are gorgeous and really high quality, and they were only $5.99 for two. The Chinoiserie pattern pillows are of a lesser quality, but look at that design. You know I couldn't resist. I think it's the little touches that you add that really make an outdoor space special. I like to add all kinds of small items to my plant pots, like decorative metal stakes, decorative solar lights, self-watering globes, trellises, both small and large, and even miniature houses. You can also create a simple topiary by removing the chains from two Dollar Tree hanging baskets. Put the flat sides together, then use small zip ties to join them together. These zip ties are from Dollar Tree too. Use landscaping pins to hold it into the top of a pot or a large vase. I also tried creating a topiary with an old grapevine wreath, but I needed to attach it to a stake to hold it in place. So instead, I just pushed it down to disguise the Dollar Tree plastic planter I had used. I love the traditional look of concrete statuary, like this rabbit I bought at Goodwill. To draw your eye to the rabbit, I put a viney plant in a colorful pot next to the rabbit and pushed some of the stems through the gap between the rabbit's arms. You know I love birds, so I added a ceramic bird in the pot next to the rabbit to complete the vignette. I also added a resin bird among the rocks in the water fountain, and I threw in an inspirational rock from Dollar Tree. I thrifted this statue of a young girl a few years ago at Goodwill, but she fell and broke. You know I'm not throwing her away. I grabbed some construction adhesive and glued her head back on, and I used some tape to hold the head in place until the adhesive dried. I just noticed that originally there was something in the girl's hand, so I decided to use some more construction adhesive to attach a small ceramic bird to that spot. Now I like it even more than before it broke. This chandelier is a thrifted electrical light that I previously gutted. When I removed the birdhouses, I wasn't planning on using it this year, but the lights still work great, so I added ceramic birds onto the arms. I bought these birds on sale at Hobby Lobby for about $1 each. But if you shop at my Hobby Lobby, you should know I bought them all. Sorry. Be sure to take the time to maintain old projects that you want to keep. Last year, I placed some river rocks in the path leading up to the patio, arranging them in shapes of flowers and a butterfly. Over the course of the year, some of the rocks moved around, so I took a few minutes to arrange them back into shape and filled in around them with some fresh pea gravel. Now they look as good as when I first put them there. I hope you were inspired by today's video to create your own little English garden. And please let me know if you'd like to see another video featuring outdoor projects. Well, that's all for today. Cheerio!